What's up, my people? It is Thursday night, 8:59. Supposed to start these at 9 o'clock, but I was a little anxious. Had to just hit it. So we're live. It's Q&A on a Thursday night before a game week. You guys know how it's done at this point. So rattle off the questions if you got them. I always open these shows the same exact way on Q&A night. They always make me really, really nervous because typically I always go into these shows with some type of game plan, some type of topic that I know I'm going to talk about, and I always have to filibuster and just talk, which I've never had a problem with. If you haven't figured it out by now, I love to talk. Always have, always will the rest of my life. So it's not something I'm worried about. I can sit here and talk to myself as long as I want. Would prefer questions to come in though. So if you guys have them, rattle them off. It could be preferably anything Kentucky and Georgia related. I know there was some big breaking news. We'll get into that right now. Trevor Lawrence has tested positive for the COVID-19. Got him. Don't know how. Don't know when he got it. All I know is the ACC has a mandatory 10-day isolation period, and they play Notre Dame in 9 days. So don't really know what's going to happen with that football game. I know he's not going to be available for Boston College, but we don't know when he tested positive. We don't know if it's a false positive. Apparently, he's got mild symptoms, so I would assume it's not a false positive. Would assume it's probably the COVID. He's probably got it. This isn't a Nick Saban type of scenario. Apparently, he's feeling fine, so that's good to hear. But yeah, definitely got it and definitely in isolation for 10 days. At this point, it becomes a question of when did he contract the virus? When did he have his first positive test? And when did that 10-day isolation period begin? According to Sweeney's statement was that Trevor Lawrence allowed them to make the knowledge public today. So they might have known for a couple of days. Who knows at this point? That's the thing about this, man, especially some of these college programs across the country, they've been making this stuff relatively known, when guys test positive, how many guys on their team they've got that tested positive kind of thing. Clemson isn't one of those programs. Alabama isn't one of those programs. Georgia, not one of those programs. Has there been guys test positive at Georgia this year? I would assume so, yeah. Have we known? No. Are we ever going to know? No. If it's a big name player like a Trevor Lawrence, eventually these types of things have to come out. So terrible news for Clemson, terrible news for the ACC. Guys, that Boston College football team is no joke. That's who they play this week. I like everything that staff's doing up there. So are they going to beat Clemson? Probably not. But a couple weeks ago, they were playing their backup punter as a quarterback against Georgia Tech because they're two backups, DJ Ugalele. I'll never pronounce that name. That's the 2020 version of Tagovailoa. It's going to take a national championship game-winning touchdown drive for me to remember his name and know it and know how to pronounce it. Other people got to say it first, and then I'll train my mind to say it. But that's the case. I mean, they're down a starting quarterback, and it's the starting quarterback, the best college football quarterback there is. A close second, Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. Let's get right into it. Born_ready. Love the name right there. First of all, brother. Any breakout players on offense Saturday? I said on Twitter, and if you watched last night's What to Look Forward to, What to Expect show, you would know by now that I have a firm belief that Todd Monken is going to get these slot receivers loose early and often in this football game because Kentucky is such a traditional odd front defense. They play two outside linebackers in space and two big outside linebackers. One of them 6'3", 244 pounds. The other one 6'5", 233 pounds. So neither of those guys are ever going to be able to cover what Georgia's got in the slot position. So Kearis Jackson, Jermaine Burton, those are the type of football players I would expect to bust out early in this football game. And then after that, maybe they get I know Pickens is a little banged up, but they expect him to play. Maybe they get him some touches. Or knowing Kirby, if he feels like he can win a football game without one of his best players, if he can preserve the best player's health, he's going to do that. So I would look for the slot receivers first to bust out, and then it gets into a heavy run game at that point when Georgia's up big. I would imagine that. Do you think the Dogs rush for over 200 yards? That's a bet. You can go on and take that one. We already got our first super chatter of the night. Robert Franklin, I appreciate you, brother. If you've got a question, Rob, feel free to throw it in. I know sometimes those super chats can get a little funky. They just send you money off without getting your question. So if you got a question, Rob, send it in. We'll get to you first as soon as I get to it. All right, let's get up here. Back to the 200 yards. I think this is almost a guarantee at this point with the way Kentucky is going to try to run the football against Georgia, I think they're going to get off the field rather quickly. I think Joey Gatewood, in his first career start in college, he might turn the ball over a good bit too. So based off the tape I've seen from Joey, and I was just watching some of it before we started tonight because I know there's going to be some questions about Gatewood. Ball security is a major question. Ball security and ball placement are a major question on this big kid. So your first career start going against a team like this, troublesome for that young man. So yeah, I think that could be something. Jordan Brock, anything on JT Daniels, guys, and this isn't really a hey, run to my Patreon stuff. My OG subscribers on Patreon have gotten to an update a week, it seems like, on JT Daniels. So if you want information on that, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. It's a link in the bio. There's one up literally called Update on JT Daniels. You'll find out everything I know right there. So yeah, feel free to run over there. I'm not just going to give it out on a live stream. Sorry. Nobody in this business does that. So it's just not good business. Here we got, what do you think the ceiling for JT Daniels is? The ceiling for JT Daniels is, I don't have a player comp. Oh, I do have a player comp, Sam Darnold. That's the ceiling for me. A college, everybody hears Sam Darnold, they're like, oh, he sucks for the Jets. Sam Darnold was a dang good college quarterback, good enough to be the number 1 overall draft pick. So stop with all that. Oh, he compared him to Sam Darnold. He must be trash. No, that's what he looks like to me. People won't realize, but Sam's actually a really good athlete. Sam's a pretty good basketball player. I believe in high school, can actually move a little bit in the pocket, and he's out of the pocket. He still does it in the NFL too. That's my player comp for JT Daniels. And if we want to get really, really wild, let's say he plays, beyond measure, beyond what we could ever imagine him to do, which right now it's not looking like it, at least from what we're hearing out of practice. The ceiling's Aaron Rodgers. Like the ceiling is Sam Darnold. The bust through the ceiling, break through the glass window, and playing in the sky is Aaron Rodgers. What advantages, disadvantages of a running back being in the pistol rather than offset? To me, when you're running inside zone, stretch zone, plays like this, they get a longer time to read their keys. They're coming downhill instead of horizontally into their gaps. So that's the thing to me. When you get a running back into that situation, he's got his vision stays forward. So he can read his offensive line, find holes just a tad bit easier. The problem is all your play action stuff now has to roll with the quarterback's back to the defense, which every spread offense in the country is trying to take out because they don't trust young quarterbacks to turn their back to the defense. And if you're in the pistol, that's what you have to do. Downset hut and do like that. You're not looking at the defense. If the running back's to the side of you, we can run read option while I'm looking dead at the defensive line, just like everybody else. So that's kind of the advantages and disadvantages of what's going on with the pistol set. Krish the Core, thank you, brother, for being here, or sister. Don't know nowadays. We actually do got a pretty substantial female audience that are trying to learn some football. So we appreciate you ladies for being here if y'all are still here tonight. What do you think about Zamir White and why Georgia has not big run play yet? Big run plays, we talked about this on the Rose Bowl breakdown that we had the other night. People don't realize that, the long touchdowns, the 60, 70-yard touchdowns, that's all a testament to wide receivers blocking downfield. If your wide receivers ain't blocking downfield, you ain't never going to break one because the corner's going to tackle you at 20 yards downfield. And that's what we're seeing, in my opinion, from Georgia this year. All around. Apart from Matt Landers, who you can't keep on the field because he can't complete catches, they ain't finishing blocks downfield. So that's part of the reason. The other part of the reason is, apart from Kendall Milton and Kenny McIntosh, those are the only 2 backs that I'm seeing making the first defender miss. So 2 things have to happen. Running back has to be accounted for 1 defender. 1 free defender's got to take him. Typically, it's the free safety, strong safety, whoever the overhang defender is. Typically, it's that guy. If you can make that guy miss, you got a good chance to break one, but you have to have your wide receivers blocking downfield. If those 2 things don't happen, you're never going to have a 60-yard touchdown unless you've got Adrian Peterson back there running, back in his heyday at Oklahoma. That dude was just a freak. Unless you've got one of those back there, it ain't happening. So that's where those things have to be improved for Georgia's offense. Do you think we send more guys in motion to help Stet with pre-snap reads? Look, hey, Jeremiah, one of our biggest supporters right here. Appreciate you, Jeremiah. They send a lot of motion, man. Todd Monken is a motion-based offense. They do a lot of stuff where they're sending motion. The thing is, I can still disguise what I'm doing pre-snap with motion, even if you run motion. I can't do it to the extent of just sitting in a standard, stationary offense against the stationary offense, but I can still disguise a good bit of what I'm trying to do, even with motion, as long as there's enough time on the play clock for everything to get settled. If you're running motion and snapping as the motion's happening, that's when pre-disguised stuff kind of gets thrown out the window. So will that happen? Possibly. But we'll see. Again, I don't think the pre-disguised defenses are going to be a problem moving forward until they see Alabama again. Guys, y'all don't understand how smart and athletic type of football players you have to have on the defensive side of football to do the stuff that the Alabamas, the Clemsons, and the Georgias do on the defensive side of the football. It takes absolute freaks that can cover a ton of ground, and it takes really, really smart football players and a hellified coaching staff that calls those things in proper situations against proper looks from the other side of the football field. Which running back do you think has the most production coming from Justin Nichols underscore? Don't you guys hate those underscores? Man, I wish I could get rid of mine. Whenever when I was creating Twitter, names and handles, wish I could always just throw it underscore. But somebody's always got Brooks Austin. Whoever's got Brooks Austin, y'all go find him. Let me know. Might throw some cash his way to steal that username. But back to the question, which running back do you think has the most production? So far, if we're just going yards per carry and the explosive rate that they're playing with, it's Kendall Milton right now. Who's going to get the most touches Saturday? I would imagine it's Zamir White. And then maybe they start to really feed Kendall. Look, here's the deal. Everybody wants to know why Kendall's not playing more, why Kendall's not playing more. I don't think they trust Kendall 100% in pass protection yet. And if you guys have ever listened to Kirby Smart in a post-game press conference talking about running backs, he don't want to talk about running backs breaking big plays. He wants to talk about Zamir White picking up a blitz pickup and sticking his nose into a Mike linebacker and avoiding a sack that way and saving a sack. So those are the things that have to get picked up a lot more for freshman tailbacks to get onto the field. He's been hellified as a ball carrier. Everybody, you can see that. That is obvious. It's the smaller things that some of the older backs are much better at this point, and that just comes with time. Look, one thing you need to know about, high school superstars, running backs, they ain't never been asked to block a day in their life. Kendall in high school, he might have been their leading receiver out there at Clovis or in Clovis, California at his high school. He was that good. That team was, for a lack of a better term, that bad. He was hands down, far and away, the best football player on that football team. So played in a pretty small classification of high school football, which nobody wants to talk about because it ain't single A football in Georgia that everybody knows about. It's basically the equivalent of single A out there in California. Nobody wants to talk about that because they don't know, because they don't watch the tape. If you watch the tape, it is very, very clear from high school that Kendall's playing with a bunch of dudes that are about 5'10", 5'11", and the same thing on the other side of the football. So he was never asked to block in high school, so he'll start figuring those things out. I know we do it already, just asking if we do it more. Yeah, appreciate you, Jeremiah. I'm a little late on these. Looks like I can slow down. We ain't got that. No, we do. We got a bunch of questions coming in. When you think of Stetson Bennett and look at what he did this year, he's a smaller Jake Fromm. What do you think? Two things. Shorter, yes. Less thick, 100%. Jake Fromm's a thick dude. I don't think people realize that one either. Jake Fromm like 220, 225. Pretty thick dude. Country strong too. Them Warner Robins boys, they figured it out. They country fed. They eat a lot of cornbread and collard greens down there in Warner Robins. Yeah, much smaller. 5'10". I think he's probably 180 pounds soaking wet, like legit. He is a small man. Much better athlete, though. 100%. Much better athlete in terms of foot speed and quickness. Is he 4'5"? No. Is he 4'6'5"? Maybe. Is he probably 4'7", 4'7" laser? 100%. That's what he is. How's it going, my man? SSL, it is doing well, brother. Appreciate you. Also, one of our biggest supporters. Shout out to that man right there. What are the chances Clemson fakes multiple positive tests to postpone the game until Lawrence plays? The question ain't what are the chances Clemson fakes it. The question is, what are the chances that the ACC fakes it? Because that's who's doing the in-house testing. Just like in the SEC, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the SEC comes through 3 times a week at all of these programs and does private testing for these schools for this exact reason. So Nick Saban's not faking a test. Now, here's the thing. Once you test positive, you can then have they have a list of independent contractors, basically, that you can go get tested from to, get rid of the positive test. That's what happened last week or 2 weeks ago with Saban. Saban got a positive test from the SEC, I would assume, because it came out on Sunday, I believe. Got the positive test, spent all week or Tuesday, whenever it was, the second round from the SEC, then spent the next 3 days with his own private, list off the list of approved, doctors or test takers or whatever, and got the 3 negatives to get back on the football field. So the question isn't whether or not Clemson fakes it. The question is whether or not the ACC fakes it so they don't have their biggest regular season game in the history of the ACC. I mean, when was the last time we saw 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 4, or whatever it's going to be between Clemson and Notre Dame in the ACC in the regular season? I mean, you might have to go all the way back to when Miami was in Miami was in the Big East when they were great. So it's been a while since that's happened. So the question is, will the ACC do some funny stuff to make sure that they've got a bunch of positive tests on that football team? Here's the deal. If you know how this virus spreads, if you know that that's the quarterback of your football team, I don't know if they're going to have problems finding positive tests on that football team. Think about it. Once Florida had 1 or 2 tests positive, it was, oh crap, now we got 19. Okay, these things are delayed responses in terms of positive tests and showing signs of symptoms, things like that. So they may not have problems finding enough numbers to go full on, shut it down for a week or so, move games, do that kind of stuff. Logan Ruiz, shout out to you. Y'all listen to the man, go run to the Patreon. There's some great stuff over there. Do you think Jake Fromm is good or no? I think Jake, look, I'll be honest with you. Go Google my name or Jake Fromm, Dogs Daily, Jake Fromm, SI.com. Yes, I thought Jake Fromm was good to a fault, to an absolute fault. And a lot of it was me diving into the intangibles. And I get in trouble with this kind of stuff sometimes, especially at the quarterback position. Thought he was an impeccable leader. Turned out maybe he exactly wasn't. Wink, wink, hint, hint. If y'all want to ask me about that, hit me up on the Patreon account. I got some stuff for you. But I never stopped to say, okay, dude, the arm's just not good enough. Don't care how great of a processor he is. The arm's just not good enough. It'll never be good enough. Just stop, give up on it, let go. Is what I should have sat down and had a real man-to-man, look myself in the mirror type of conversation. I never did it. I kept riding Fromm. So was he horrible? No. Was he a serviceable quarterback? Yes. Did he need some help around him? 100%. Is he a quote-unquote game manager? Yeah, everyone else has slapped that on him. I don't think that's a negative attribute, okay? Wasn't Darnold? Yes. Darnold was a USC quarterback. Here's a good question. Will we win a national championship next year with Brock Vandagriff? No, not next year. Give that a while. I think Brock Vandagriff's a year 2, year 3. You got a chance to be a favorite for the national championship. But DJ Uiagalelei up there at Clemson is still going to be there. Bryce Young in Alabama is still going to be there. These dudes are good football players. So there's some other quarterbacks across the country that are really good too. The best thing about Brock is the intangibles, but he's an intangible. Jake Fromm is a 6'1", 225-pound, 5'1", 22-inch vertical, non-athletic intangibles guy. Brock Vandagriff, 6'3", is a bona fide 4'6", 4'6'5" guy, can throw it through the eye of a needle from 40 yards. He's got an absolute howitzer, and he's got all those intangibles. So, yeah, is he a national championship caliber quarterback? 100%. Do I want to walk in with him into college and give him those expectations? No, that's not fair. All right, move on to the next one. P. Rich, what's up, my boy? Brooks, what's up, my man? What's the scouting report on Gatewood? Kind of hit on this earlier. Big, strong athlete, right? 6'5", 235, might even be up to 240 pounds at this point after a couple of seasons in college football. Couple things that I noticed. A, don't you dare go watch that high school tape. That is some of the worst 8A football I think I've seen. That's Jacksonville football there in the highest classification of Florida, and that is boo-boo. I've seen 3A schools in Georgia that look better than that. He looks like a monster on that football field because nobody's over 6'3" on either roster. I watched all of his senior tape. Not a single dude. I don't think there was a single Division I athlete on the opposition of that football field. So, and that's just my observations. There may be a couple of them hidden because it's Florida football. So there might be some of those guys that are playing at FAU, FIU, maybe some that sprinkled at Florida State, Miami, whatever. That's not 7A football here in Georgia. You go watch 7A football here in Georgia, which you'll get a chance to tomorrow night on ESPN2 between Parkview and Grayson. Look at the size of those jokers on that football field. There's going to be 7 or 8 6'5" guys on that football field. Joey Gatewood looks like he's 9 foot tall in this highlight tape because he's the only 6'5" dude on the field. So throw that high school tape out. The other thing is he's a 4.8 runner. I don't care what anybody tells me. That is not a straight line speed dude. He will not run away from people in the SEC. He's going to look like an average athlete. So if you think you're going to, get him in the open field and have him break off 80-yard touchdown, throw that out. He is not anywhere close to a, 4.5, 4.6 guy that you have to be in the SEC to run away from folks. That's not it. So throw that out too. Is he a serviceable runner? Yeah. Is he physical enough to take the brunt and the load of 12 to 15 carries in an SEC football game? Yes. Is he going to be an explosive ball carrier? Yet to be determined. I don't think so. Last equation here, ball placement. Ball placement is subpar. The arm strength is immaculate, right? I mean, he can throw at 89 yards. I mean, he can throw as far as anybody you'll ever find. Can he put it on a dot? I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest with you. Even his Kentucky stuff that we saw last week against Missouri has some really questionable ball placement, which that's what playing quarterback in the SEC is about because you're throwing into tight windows. You mentioned UK's use of misdirection on offense. What's the biggest key to stopping that? Eye discipline. You have got to have your eyes right. That's what coaches talk about all the time, eyes right. So if you're keying through the guard and the guard goes away, it's all about filling holes, honestly. And I'm pretty sure Georgia plays a very, very strong gap control defense. They don't do a ton of slants. They don't do a ton of twist unless it's automatic passing downs. They don't do things like this. So everybody's got a gap. You stay in your gap. You don't leave your gap type of defense. If that's the case, then you're fine. If you get caught up in all the misdirection, if you're following the wrong people, you're going to get in trouble. It goes back to a triple option type of thing where if you've ever had played high school football or played in college against a triple option football team, your coach makes you practice without a football to make you take away all of the options, right? To take away the dive, to take away the quarterback, to take away the pitch, all throughout the defense or all throughout the snap, because that's what it requires, because it's a triple option. They can use all three. And if you don't cover up one of the three, they're going to hit that guy. Same thing with what Kentucky does. They run a lot of counter RPO, which is a rare play in the SEC. A lot of people just run traditional inside zone RPO. They're pulling backside guard and tackle while having an option to keep it out of the back. So you practice without a ball. Somebody's got quarterback, somebody's got dive, somebody's got to shut down the counter, stuff like that. Chris, appreciate you, bro. I won't call you a girl anymore. That's on me. You think Burton gets targeted a lot like he was against Alabama? I think Alabama was a lot about that. That wasn't predetermined stuff. Okay. Early in the game, you saw predetermined stuff where we showed you on the film breakdown that, Stetson made up his mind a couple times that he was throwing the wheel to Kearis Jackson because they called it all week and they told him it was going to be open. So he threw it. Early in the game, if you see Burton getting design plays made up for him, yeah, they're clearly trying to get him touches early in the football game. Monken strikes me as a heavy scripted opener. Some football teams don't do it. I wouldn't imagine, like, prime example, I don't think Oklahoma is a heavy scripted offense. They're a check with me offense. They like to run what's given. Okay, there's a whole bunch of options off what they're doing. I think they're a check with me, take what the defense is giving you type of offense. I think Monken is the type of coordinator where he comes into the game with 12, 15 plays in a row that he knows he wants to run. Now, if there's a big sack on first down and he gets thrown into a 2nd and 15, he's not going to run what he originally had planned for a second down play, that type of stuff. So I think he's a heavily scripted type of coach. Pickens has been worse blocker. Maybe. Yeah, you guys have watched me. Y'all know that's easy bait for me. He's cleaned it up though, guys. The effort's been picking up week in and week out. So that's a positive sign, which I think there's a lot of positive signs about this coaching staff and this football team. They are very clearly coaching things up and coaching them up quickly. There's a lot of improvements. Guys, I think the first week we saw a ton of missed assignments on the offensive line. Second week, they played flawless. Against Auburn, I ragged on Pickens for 25 minutes for his blocking effort. Against Tennessee, cleaned it up. Looked like he was giving a ton of effort. Against Tennessee, thought they blocked counter absolutely piss poor. Against Alabama, they cleaned counter up. They ran counter. Counter was one of their more productive run plays. So it's clear to me this offensive staff, A, knows what they're doing. B, can coach up and find the issues and fix them quickly, which that's what you want. That's what you want out of a coaching staff. So those are good things to know. Remember Holloman? I do. We watched him in the Rose Bowl game. Phenomenal. Actually, he wasn't in the Rose Bowl game, but I do remember Holloman. He did block folks into the stands. I love Jeremiah Holloman. Thought it was a shame what happened to him. Was honestly stunned when I found out, when that news broke, what was going on there. And it was a year delayed being reported, which is kind of a whole nother issue. Eric Stokes, Tyson Campbell, Stevenson, and DJ Daniel. Who's best? Stokes, one. I love Tyreek Stevenson, but he's not a corner. So let's just talk about the corners now, and then we'll talk about Tyreek Stevenson, who I think is Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think is Marlon Humphrey type of football player. I think is Richard LeCount on steroids type stuff. That's who Tyreek Stevenson is. So let's throw him out of this discussion. I would go Stokes and then a toss-up between Campbell and Daniels. Everybody wants to trash on Daniels. Daniels played lights out last year. Lights out. There are NFL scouts that I talk to that love DJ Daniel. Think he's a top 60 pick. He's been playing with an ankle injury. You know how hard it is to play with an ankle injury at corner? Think about that. It's like playing offensive line with a pectoral tear, punching people over and over again with a pec tear or a bicep tear. This dude's out there on an island shifting with wide receivers with a high ankle sprain or a low ankle sprain, whatever the ankle sprain is. It's hard to do, guys. It's not even like if he feels like he's 90%, he probably plays at 75% efficiency because he's just not side to side twitchy like he normally is. So give that some time. Let him get healed up. Same thing with Tyson Campbell last year. He had a turf toe injury. Lower extremity, shin down type of injuries for corners might as well be season enders. They are horrendous for those types of guys because they're out there playing in space. They are supposed to be quick twitch, agile athletes. And when you give them a lower leg injury, a lower foot injury, it's seriously going to hinder their play. So all the Twitter folks, all you hot take artists, take it easy on DJ Daniel. All right. He's a great football player, just like Tyson Campbell. But Campbell's playing out of his dang mind right now, playing phenomenally. Brandon Howell, you think we see more post-wheel with Cook? Appreciate the super chat there, Brandon. Yeah, maybe. But that wasn't a post-wheel that James Cook ran. He just ran out of the backfield and ran a straight go against a linebacker. Are you going to see more stuff like that? Probably. Now, what you could see, and what you're talking about right now is what I could see Monken doing Saturday is going into the boundary. Follow me here. We got 3-by-1 to the field. Okay, so we got 3 wide receivers out to the left. Ball's on the right hash. Okay, so we got a short surface over here into the boundary. What I could see Monken doing is running a whole bunch of disguised crap over here to the left, running Pickens on the post, taking every single bit of the attention, taking James Cook, running him on the wheel. Very, very possible that could happen. Are they going to line him up in the slot and run post wheel? Probably not. Let's get back to where we were. Oh, man, I got to go all the way back up. This is what gets me. I like to get you super chatters up first. I like to answer all y'all's questions before we get into everybody, but I end up losing my track here. Don't think they trust him to hang onto the ball either. I think we're talking about Milton at that point. That's overblown. He's had 1 fumble. Let's get that out of here. Fun fact, our past 2 running backs, DeAndre Swift and Sony Michel, go off versus Kentucky. Will Zamir go off? One of them's going to go off. I think all of them kind of do, to be honest with you. I think they get up pretty quickly in this football game and then kind of take the foot off the gas because that's what Kirby does. What was different from Cook against Bama that led to him having his best collegiate game? Alabama's linebackers are horrendous against the pass and covering backs. It ain't just Cook. Go look. Running backs all year long have been having career years in receiving yards out of the backfield against Alabama. CJ Mosley is having problems right now covering out of the backfield. Number 8, forgot his name. He's the one that James Cook mossed and just torched, ran right by him. So, yeah, I think it's more of a linebackers can't cover type thing. But, yeah, they did design some things up for him. But, again, how much of that is Monken designing plays up for James Cook just because he wants to get James Cook touches? And how much of that is he identified a weakness and a mismatch against Alabama's defense and said, I'm going to exploit it like all good offensive coordinators do. I'm taking the second one on that one. 2017, Sony Michel. 2017, Nick Chubb. Next question. I liked Sony a lot, but bro, watch Chubb on tape. It's phenomenal. It's stupid. Makes no sense. Chubb, Michel got the ball when the D was tired. Exactly. Clemson's backup quarterback is just as good as Trevor. That's a hot take. Oh, he's a Clemson fan hopping in here. That is an absolute flaming hot take. That's like too hot. Get up out the chat type of hot take. Bro, Trevor Lawrence might be one of the best college quarterbacks ever. Don't come in here with that. Dude won a national championship as a true freshman and dominated. I mean, flat out dominated some really good football teams. Don't do that. Don't put that on DJ Uiagalelei. Don't do that. Or the other guy that Dabo Swinney says is a bigger Russell Wilson. That you talking about a hot take. That's a hot take. Stetson is more mobile, but wants to hit home runs all the time. Wide receiver running free against Alabama, and Stetson throws into double, triple coverage. I don't know if he always wants to take deep shots. That's not quite true. He doesn't have a huge arm. I think he got caught up in predetermined reads, which is something that we've talked about on the Patreon account. So how do I comment from patron to here? Not something that you can do. This live stream tonight's Q&A is strictly on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. It's going back up on Patreon. The Patreon is Monday, Tuesday, Friday morning, Saturday watch party. 4 days a week. Y'all get content over there, and then the OGs get, some additional intel 2 or 3 times a week. So that's what's over there. These Wednesday and Thursday shows are strictly for you guys. I'm honest with you. I'll be real with you. This is to get you guys over there. It's to let you guys know what's happening, what's popping. You guys who aren't on the Patreon account. Those who are, the people like SSL, the people like my boy Jeremiah _Stod, all these guys that I'm calling out, that showing a little extra love. I know they're patrons. They mess with everything that I do. They're around everything that I do, and I appreciate them. They're legit. They're the definition of OGs, original gangsters. Jeremiah Stott was my very first patron. I went back and looked at it today. Shout out to that guy. He's probably still watching right now. He's been watching all 32 minutes of this tonight. Brooks, where are you from? I'm from Douglasville, Georgia. Went to school in Fairburn at Landmark Christian. Went to college in Rome, Georgia. Now I live in Woodstock. There you go. Full rundown of Brooks Austin right there. Michelle and Chubb have different running styles. Absolutely. I'm going to start rattling off. If you guys have just given observations and comments, we're going to rattle through this. We will with JT, not Brock. Hot take there, Born _ Brock can scoot. Didn't know he was that athletic. He is. I love that when people say, boy can scoot. Yeah, he can scoot. Hot take, though, on the national championship with JT Daniels. Hey, Brooks, what is the game plan for the offense on Saturday? Sorry, I'm late, sir. Don't call me sir. Sir's my dad. I'm just your boy. Hope you're doing well, brother. I am doing great, Wyatt. Wyatt's also one of our biggest supporters. Appreciate you, Wyatt. Game plan. I said it on Twitter. I think the game plan is to get Stetson a little bit more confidence early in this football game, and then if they have to run it late, they will. This is a pretty staggering stat. The yards per carry on this are insane. I'm guessing this is 2017. First of all, to have 2 guys rush over 1,200 yards, that's ridiculous. Both those stat lines are stupid, but Sony's is a little better. Can't wait for Parkview Grayson. Can't either. I'll be there tomorrow on the sideline. If you could choose one former quarterback to lead, easy, Matt Stafford. Let me have to finish the question. Matt Stafford. You give Todd Monken Matt Stafford in this offense, my God, dude. They might average 20 yards of completion. That dude had the biggest arm ever. The biggest arm Georgia's ever seen at the quarterback position. That dude could throw it a country mile. He was Uncle Rico. You see that mountain over there? I can throw it over that mountain back in my day. Matt Stafford is that dude. Most talented quarterback Georgia's ever had from an arm talent standpoint. Absolutely best tandem of running backs in college football history. I'm cool with this take. Maybe Lindell White, Reggie Bush. Maybe. They did win a natty. Both played in the league for quite a while. But yeah, I would take Chubb and Michelle probably over them. Joey Gatewood should have beat out Bo Nix. Joey Gatewood, maybe. Marquise Willis, who is lighting it up right now for Liberty. That dude was in that quarterback room at Auburn too. So yeah, they mismanaged that one. There's two guys playing elsewhere that are better than Bo Nix. And this is coming again from a Bo Nix guy. I'm not anymore. I'm selling stock. Anybody wants a Bo Nix stock? I got it. I'm going to sell it. In your opinion, who's our best player on defense? Who makes everything go? Who makes everything go? Monty Rice. Who's your best overall player? N'Kobe Dean. That's my opinion. That whole defensive line really makes it go, though. Stopping the run is Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis and nose tackle just shuts every running game down. So big. Dominates the line of scrimmage. Requires so much attention that you can't really do it. Sounds a lot like Eason, gap integrity. I think all the running backs go off. Who starts at tailback? Zeus for sure. Who gets the most carries? I hope they feed Kendall. I hope they're up enough in this game to give him 18 touches and just watch him just derail safeties in this league. Zeus has got the most all season. Zeus or Milton, my guess on most carries. All right, I've been wondering in 2019, we had Cager, Pickens, Karras, Blaylock, Simmons, Robertson. Who was our best receiver in 19? Lawrence Cager was, but he couldn't stay healthy. So at that point, it becomes George Pickens, and the rest of them just didn't play that great. I thought Dominic played really well and capitalized on every single opportunity that he got. He just didn't get too many of them. I think he had 35 receptions last year for like 375 yards. So I would have gone Cager, Pickens, Blaylock. Do you think Georgia's offense can get better? Do you think they can be a playoff contender? They are a playoff contender, first of all, even if they just, scored 27, 30 points a game. Defense is that good. They're only going to play a team like Alabama once or twice. And they can, in this year, they could probably lose to them twice as long as the second one's close and still make the playoff. Because you ain't going to get a Pac-12 team in the playoff this year. I don't think if they delay that Notre Dame game and Notre Dame gets thumped by Clemson and Trevor Lawrence twice, they ain't coming into the college football playoff. The Big 12, their best contender right now is Oklahoma State, who probably won't run the table. So who's the Big 12 adding into the occasion? The Big 10, Penn State, their number 2 team, just got thumped, or not thumped, but just, lost to Indiana. And they're going to get thumped this week against Ohio State. So if they're taking 2 from any conference, it's going to be the SEC. I would like to see Kendall, you and everybody in the Army, brother. Last question I will ask. Jeremiah, you can ask anyone you want. Do you think Kamari Lassiter becomes the return man upon arrival? No, because Karras Jackson's still going to be there, okay, for another year. So, and here's a hot take. A dark horse sleeper contender for return man in the near future. Ladd McConkey. Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape of what Ladd did on special teams in high school. I know it's North Murray. It's 3A football up in Northeast Georgia. I understand that. Go watch the tape. And mind you, when you watch the tape, that now he's 187 pounds, I believe. My sources tell me 187 pounds and is like a 4.48 runner. Yeah. And the shuttle's like 4 flat. And people see Ladd and they're like, oh, he's 5'10", 185 pounds. They don't know the measurables on that kid. They do not understand how twitched up that dude is. He is freaky twitch. Like 5'10", and he can just slam a basketball, like yam one. So, yeah, that's my dark horse for a punt returner in the near future. Especially if he's not like getting constant reps on the offensive side of the football, they will put him back there. Wouldn't matter this year. Back shoulder, I think, is what Silent was trying to say. Here we go. The other one were more observations. So I'm going to hit the questions, guys. Please put question marks in them. So there's a lot of comments going through here. It's easier for me to identify them if they got a question mark. Could we have had a better game against Bama? That is, not Nana. Shout out to you, Nana, though, Robert. Could we have a better game against Bama with Blaylock? I hate he got re-injured. Man, worst story I've ever had to report. Hated every second of hitting send on that one. Did not want to do it. But when you get news like that and you've confirmed news like that in this industry, working for this brand and doing what I do, I had to report that. That's first of all. Terrible, terrible circumstance for him. But here's what I know about Dominic Blaylock. The dude's freaky. Freaky. Almost too freaky in the sense that he's so muscular. Go look at photos of that dude and look at his quads. That's why he rebounded as quick as he did. We were writing stories over there at Dogs Daily about how quick and amazing his recovery was. Why? Because his daggum quads are the size of my face. Like 2 of them. They're like this. His quads are huge. Yeah, against Bama, you probably look a lot better. This offense probably looks a lot better with Kyrus, Jermaine, and Dominic Blaylock dominating in the slot. But if Kyrus or Dominic was on the field, I think you see Jermaine Burton play the X and play the Z, and George stay at the X, and then you see Kyrus and Jermaine or Kyrus and Dominic stay in the slot. I think that's what you would have saw. Eric Stokes, our best DB, can confirm that. Silent Chaos. Can the DBs fix issues they had versus Bama before the SEC championship game, assuming we get there? Yeah. Problem is, though, well, first of all, you ain't going to see Jalen Waddle, so that's good for Georgia at least. It ain't good for Jalen. It's really, really sad for Jalen, obviously. Hot take, right? Captain Easy stance. It's terrible that a guy's season ended. Yeah, it's terrible. Beneficial to Georgia for sure, because now that's one less explosive, the most explosive player in college football. You don't have to cover anymore. He's not going to be there. That number 18, they got that Slade Bolton, though. Holy cow. It's Bama. They just going to keep rolling them out there. It's just going to always be another dude coming out next. But to answer your question, I think they don't leave them on an island as much as they did if they don't have to. Like we were telling you in the Bama defensive breakdown, if they get in 3-by-1 sets where Georgia's allowed and has the space in the men to play zone coverage and keep everything in front of them, I think they do that. They stuck in man coverage probably 85 to 90% of that football game. So pretty much a losing proposition for any defensive backfield. I didn't think, they didn't play great. Don't get me wrong. But think about the plays the big explosive plays that they gave up. Tyreek Stevenson had his eyes in the backfield. Devontae Smith scored on a wheel route for about 30 yards. Eric Stokes got called for a pass interference that you guys and I totally believe was a little boo hockey. The 90-yard touchdown to Waddle was a blown coverage between Tyreek Stevenson and Tyson Campbell, and he went 90 yards. Apart from that, they just chewed up the field the whole time. Guys were in phase the whole time. So I didn't think they played that bad. They got beat every once in a while. You're going to get beat every once in a while in the SEC playing man-to-man coverage. Can't mention Zamir in a sense without those guys yet. I don't know what that means. We're a little behind on that. Let's get back up here. Cage was our best receiver, 100%. Will we have a better chance against Bama? We already hit that one. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind. In an interview yesterday, Chahill refused to give details on how to keep D-line's hands down. Can you inform us? I'm going to tell you what it is. Here's what I did, but I'm 6 foot. I ain't 6'5". So first of all, 6'1". I'm 6'1". I'm 6 foot and a half. I'm being honest. Bro, as soon as the D-line jumped, I stuck my head right through his man parts. That's what I did. And I was aiming for his man parts, and most of the time I hit his thigh board. And what it ends up doing is the dude's jumping up. He's left his feet. If you take his feet out, he's going helmet first right into the ground, face first. That's what I did. What they're probably coaching in the SEC is, punch him in the chest and be strong enough to flip the guy over and end up on his back. It's going to hurt to fall 7 feet down to the ground and once you get hit in the chest like that. So that's what they're coaching them up to do. They're either coaching them up to take their legs out when people jump, which is what I did, or they're coaching them up to get there, stay engaged, and when they jump to accelerate your feet. They probably did a whole bunch of drills for that Monday or, Tuesday when they got back to practice. I think we got a bunch of comments in here, no real questions. How does effort improve over learning techniques? How much does effort improve over learning techniques? Willie, I've always been a firm believer that I can't teach you effort. I can't make you play hard. I can't do it. You either want to play hard or you don't. End of story. The two things I can't coach, attitude and effort. That's the only things you control in life. That's not coaching. That's period. My coach used to say that in high school. The two things you can control and nothing else. Your attitude, how you respond to things, how you carry yourself, what your mental attitude is, and your effort, how hard you work, period. That's everything you do. How you go into work every day. Do you go in there with a smile on your face, or do you go in there looking like that, hating what you do? That's your attitude. And how hard do you work? That's effort. That'll carry you anywhere in life, not just football. And there are two intangibles that I can't teach you, can't coach you up on them. Techniques, I can coach techniques all day. That's what we do here on this channel. We really need to use Washington more. Guys, understand something. He's 6'7", 265 pounds, and right now cannot separate. He can't. Go watch him on tape. And Keith Miller, I hope you're watching, brother. Something Keith told me from day one. Dude ain't gonna be able to separate. He might as well play tackle. I said, let him try. Let him go out there and try. And the first thing people are gonna say is, well, he's 6'7", just throw it up. You can't do that in the SEC. Can't do it. Can't do it in the NFL. Don't care. What's the difference between 6'6" and 6'7 and a half? An inch and a half? I mean, seriously, is that much of a difference? Is what we're talking about. There's 6'6" tight ends everywhere. There's 6'7" tight ends everywhere. Hell, we showed you a defensive lineman last night from Kentucky. It was 6'9". There's big dudes all over the SEC. Don't matter how big you are. You've got to be able to separate at those positions. That's something that I failed to realize. But he's a hellified blocker, so leave him at tight end is what I would do. Is Kirby Smart a top 5 head coach in college football? And if so, why is half the fan base calling for his job? Because they're Georgia fans. And Bama fans do the same stuff. Go search Nick Saban's name if and when Alabama loses a football game this year. Just go do it. Matter of fact, just type in Saban fired or Saban fire into Twitter and watch and just laugh. It's fans, man. Fan is short for fanatic. Fanatical people are not normally, created in their brain. Okay. They get a little crazy sometimes. Fans get crazy. That's just what it is. Is he a top 5 coach? I think so. Because he recruits like a top 2 coach. If you can recruit like a top 2 coach, you probably are a top 5 coach in college football. Because you get to pick and choose your players and they cycle out every 3 years. 100%. You think they're trusting Darnell to get more targets in the passing game and make him a bigger part of the offense? I don't know. I'm not watching practice. I got to see that on tape. Big bite, yeah, his main role right now is to block. They're going to get, I would eventually imagine they're going to give him some love in the tight end game. The guy y'all need to pay attention to, though, next year is Brock Bowers, tight end from Napa Valley. He's a freak. He's the type of tight end that they want to get touches in space. He's 6'3", 225 pounds, run moves like a wide receiver in the body of a tight end. That's the dude to pay attention to. And look what they're recruiting, okay? 2021, Brock Bowers. 2022, buddy from West Forsyth. Dang it. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name right now. Oscar Delt. Freakish athlete. 6'5", 215 pounds, plays safety and corner when he's not playing wide receiver and tight end. Okay, freaky athlete. In the spring, he plays lacrosse, like dumb, stupid athlete. 2023, Pierce Spurlin, same thing. 6'6", going to come into college at 225 pounds and can run like a deer. They're tight end bodies with wide receiver skills. That's what they're recruiting in the future. So just wait, man. You from Winston. That's not Douglasville. That's the west side of Douglasville. Nah, y'all ain't real. Y'all ain't from D-ville. Y'all from Winston. No, I'm just playing. Shout out to Douglasville, Joey. Maybe we'll meet up at Hudson's one day. We'll get a nice set of hickory fries, and I'll, run to the bathroom immediately after. That's an inside Douglasville joke. Sorry if you ain't been to Hudson's, go holler at it. I don't think we got any more questions in here. I'm gonna take this one. Took some time off after the Alabama loss because I couldn't stand listening to negative Georgia fans, but glad to be back. Love the content. Hey, we ain't negative here. We're just real. That's what it is. And first of all, y'all know this. I ain't a fan. I just spit you the truth. You might not like it. It might taste like cough syrup sometimes, but you need it. It's good for you. So, in fact, after losses, this is where you need to be because this is the only place where you're not going to get overreactions. You're going to get the tape. You're going to get the stuff that actually shows you what's going wrong. Not hypotheticals, not assumptions, anything like that. Not presser quotes from Kirby Smart. That's not what you're going to, not coach speak. You're going to get the tape and why they lost and how they lost. And it's going to be the real. It ain't going to be no opinions from me. It's going to be the real. It's going to be right there in front of you. I'm going to show you. I'm not just going to tell you. I'm going to show you. Brooks, what are your thoughts on Vandagriff and the level of talent he's playing against as it relates to his transition to SEC football? Look, I just told you earlier in the Q&A session, Joe Gatewood played 8A football in Jacksonville, Florida. Biggest classification they got. That's boo-boo football. That's not SEC football. He's going to have a transition. He has a transition right now in the SEC. Look, unless you're playing at Mater Day or one of those schools up there in Maryland that plays in that crazy conference that has 100 D1 players go every year, you're going to have a transition to college. It's going to happen. the guys that make the transition the quickest are the ones that have the intangibles, are the ones that carry the mental aspect of the football game. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you've read the articles I've written on Brock Vandagriff, he, to me, mentally, is Andrew Luck. That melancholy, super smart, analytical type of football player, that's what Brock Vandagriff is. I'll tell you a quick story. I wrote about it, and I got to get faster because you guys keep rattling them off. We're already at 50 minutes. Okay. I was on the sideline against Rabun County. That game, it was on ESPN. Rabun County, Prince Avenue at Rabun County. I think they were down 17 in the second half at one point. Came back within one score before a late turnover that probably should have been a pass interference call when Brock Vandagriff threw a pick on that drag. Okay, it was supposed to be a drag route. He was trying to hit his hot route, and the dude got decleated by a linebacker. Definitely should have probably been a pass interference. But here's the story I'll tell you. So you guys know I consider myself a football guy. I think I'm a really, really smart football player. Always was. It's the only way I could win. Like I said, just told you, 6'1.5" and made 42 starts in the Gulf South Conference. There ain't too many of those guys. Go watch West Georgia play on Saturdays. They got nothing but 6'5" dudes all across the field, all across the front. Same thing with North Alabama, who is now a Division I football team. Same thing with Valdosta State. Same thing with West Alabama. Same thing with Delta State. It's nothing but monsters. So the only way to play at my size was to be a really smart football player. Brock Vandagriff did something that I would never have been able to do. And here's the story. Okay. They were driving, Rabun County was. They were driving in the middle of the third quarter to go up another score. All right. Brock's standing on the sideline, fully engaged with what's going on the defense, encouraging, stuff like that. On the far side of the field, their starting corner goes down. Don't know if it was a cramp. Don't know if it was an ankle injury. Don't know what it was. He goes down. When I tell you that before the medical staff realized there was a player down, before the coaching staff realized there was a medical staff or a player down, before the TV network probably realized that there was a player down, Brock Vandagriff turned around and hollered for the dude's backup to get loose. The backup corner, okay? Not his left guard, not his backup left guard, the backup corner, okay? So 3 things right here. He's fully engaged to the football game. He knows who the backup is, and he called for the backup. Oh, first of all, fully engaged, identified an injury, called for the backup. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Never seen it. Never seen anything like it. Blew my mind. Blew my mind. Okay, those are the type of things that you get. And again, he's 6'3", runs a 4.65, and has got one of the stronger arms you'll ever find. Right there, boom. Best story I got for you on Brock Vandagriff. And honestly, I think I was the only one that saw it because that's just how I am. When I'm on this, when I go to these high school football games, I don't care what you do on the field. That's not why I'm there. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not why I'm there. Everyone else is there to watch you go throw touchdowns. Guess what? I can watch you throw touchdowns on tape. I don't need to see it from the sidelines. I do need to see how the ball comes out your hands, but I've seen Brock throw 6 or 7 times before I even went and watched him play a high school game because I know his trainers. I saw him up there at the Elite 11, do all that stuff. I know how the ball comes out of his hands. I don't need to see that. What I'm there to see, for anybody who's watching, if there's anybody from Parkview or Grayson watching right now, when I go to that game tomorrow, I'm watching how you respond to coaching, what you're doing on the sideline, how you're leading your teammates, how you're encouraging. Are you the first one out of the locker room? Are you the hardest worker during pregame? Are you in a full lather and full sweat? Is your uniform, are you trying to stand out or are you trying to be a member of the team? Those types of things. That's what I evaluate. Because look, everybody that goes and plays for Georgia is the best player on their high school football team. If that's what you're going to evaluate, you are a piss poor evaluator. You will never win in this sport. You will have so many misses that it'll blow your head, or your head will spin. You'll have so many misses. So what do I go evaluate? I go evaluate those small things. And Brock's game is loaded with them. I got more stories of what y'all ask me next time because I just spent 10 minutes on Brock Vandagriff. Who do you think wins the Georgia-Florida game? Georgia. Here's why. The last 14 matchups in Jacksonville have been won by the football team that had the most rushing yards in the game. If you think Florida is going to outrush Georgia at this point, with the way those two teams are configured, you're stupid. Just pound Georgia in that football game. Seth Williams or Kearis Jackson? Seth Williams. Seth Williams is going to be a 10-year guy in the NFL. Kearis Jackson, good football player. Don't get me wrong. Seth Williams, freak. Okay. Milton equals Gurley 2.0. Everybody wants to call him Nick Chubb. I compared him to Le'Veon Bell in high school, but I think that's because the offensive line he was playing behind was so bad. So his vision, he was playing Tetris is what we call it, or what I call it. Wisconsin already canceling games. Big Ten's a mess, 100% there. What will CKS be known for if he never wins a natty at UGA? In my opinion, he'll be known for mismanagement of past and present quarterbacks, fumbling the ball at the quarterback position. That's fine. If y'all want to hold that, that's fine. But again, coming off a national championship as a second-year head coach, a national championship game as a second-year coach, you're one play away from winning it with a freshman quarterback. Ain't too many people in this world starting Justin Fields in 2018. I mean, if y'all can find me the coach that's got them kind of huevos rancheros, y'all go ahead and find it. I ain't finding it. I ain't seen it. And nobody does it. Nobody does that crap. And if anybody says they do, they're armchair coaching. I'll tell you that right now. They went to a national championship with a freshman quarterback, and he was returning for his sophomore year, and a 5-star came in, a third-year head coach at that point, right? 2016, 17, they went to the Natty, third-year head coach. I think he was 37 years old, 38 years old. Ain't nobody making that call. You're stupid if you think he is. So at least I think he is. Did he make the right decision? No, it's proved wrong. Justin Fields is one of the best players in college football. Did he make the right decision? No, clearly. That's hindsight 2020, though. Everybody was loving on Jake Fromm. Everybody was loving on him. He was a leader of the football team, had the locker room, all that, yada, yada, yada. And transfer, Justin Fields. Then he goes up there and throws 41 touchdowns to 1 interception. And now Kirby Smart's an idiot. He's mismanaged the quarterback room. Okay? No. Now he's starting Stetson Bennett. Everybody's like, oh, he's stupid. He's starting the 5'10" guy over the 5-star. First of all, if y'all ain't figured it out by now, I hate star ratings. I hate rating systems. I think they're stupid because they miss a ton of times. So what it ends up doing is they bring in a quote-unquote 5-star, and everybody just thinks the dude's great. But guess what? You don't get to see. You don't get to see what the kid's doing or not doing in practice. Do you really think Kirby Smart is going to bring a transfer quarterback in and not play him if he's not either A, healthy enough to be out there, or B, good enough at the present time to be out there? No. The dude wants to win more than you want him to win. So I dislike that. I think Kirby Smart is a great football coach. Does he get a little caught up in time of possession, running the football, playing towards his defense? 100%. Okay, but every coach has their flaws. Everyone. Every single one of them. I think Dabo's a little bit too got to control everything to an extreme. Don't think he really lets his players. This is my opinion. This isn't coming from players. I don't think he allows player this stuff when player likeness comes out. Name, image, and likeness. Just watch Clemson closely. See what they do. If they're really about building the brand of the player, because that ain't what Dabo Swinney's about. Okay, Kirby Smart's about that. He's going to dominate NIL. Nick Saban, believe it or not, he's about that stuff. He wants them players to play and make money off their own name. We got some lad and some comps to Julian Edelman. Another comp I hate. Why every small wide receiver got to be Julian Edelman? Why can't he be the next Antonio Brown? Antonio Brown's 5'10", 185 pounds. Why can't that be the comp? Why ain't got to be another wide receiver? Let me guess. If I scroll down here long enough, I'll see Danny Amendola. Why can't it be A.J. Brown, who's under 6 foot and plays wide receiver? Why can't it be that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't it be Nate Burleson? Nate Burleson, 5'10", speedy wide receiver. Great route runner. Why can't it be Randall Cobb? Why, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can see her all night rattle off 5'10" black wide receivers. Why is it always got to be Julian Edelman? Because the man's white. Come on, man. Next year, Vandagriff. I have Georgia versus Clemson national championship. Vandagriff versus DJ. What do you think? It'd be a great game on TV. I'll tell you that right now. Key to beating Bama in December. Actually, I missed one. Ellis Revis. Is Kirby afraid to have an offense that is too explosive? Silly question. Who would be afraid of having an offense that's too explosive? It makes no sense. I'm not cracking on you, Ellis. I'm just saying. Think about it. What coach would be like, oh, dang. We had 7 touchdowns of 70-plus yards today. We got to really narrow that down. It's too many of them. It's a silly question. I get what you're saying, though. Is he worried about the defense being on the field too long? Probably. Is that why you saw after? Look, they ran 83 plays, 82 plays against Arkansas. They haven't even come close to that number yet. So I get what you're saying. Is he afraid of 3 and outs, which is a framing of your question? That's what next time we talk about this, you should say, hey, is Kirby Smart trying to protect his defense too much? That's what you need to say. No college coach ever is worried about having an offense that's too explosive. Key to beating Bama in December. Appreciate you, Jeremiah. Shout out to the OG. Back in here, talking some Georgia ball. We got a bunch of questions to hit. Got to be more explosive. Got to score with them. You have to score in bunches to beat an offense like that. The other thing, I think they got to play zone coverage. Got to limit the explosives. Have more explosives, limit the explosives. That's how you beat Alabama this year. Could part of getting Stetson confident with passing be design quarterback runs to mix in? Bro, if you give him 5 to 10 design quarterback runs, his body will break in half in the SEC. He's 5'10", 175, 180 pounds, soaking wet. If you let that dude run the ball over and over again, he's going to just break into vapor dust. But yeah, could they sneak some draws in there? They've tried to. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Who is wide? I think the better question is, can they get him outside? Can they get him rolling? Who's wide receiver for Kentucky? Don't know. Don't have them. They throw the ball 65. They run the ball 65% of the time. Ain't worried about a single wide receiver from Kentucky. What's the deal with D-Rob? Why hasn't he lived up to expectations? Some guys like D-Rob that are real twitched up. Okay, like we were talking about with Dom early, big quads, right? Real big quads. He's going to bounce back even after the second knee injury. Some guys that are as wiry and thin as Demetrius Robinson is, sometimes they never really get that explosiveness back. That full-on, like, holy smokes, look at this dude run routes type stuff. Yeah, I don't think you might not ever see it from D-Rob ever again. And he's just kind of been phased out. There's some really good wide receivers in that room. Tyreek the Freak is the Kyle Pitts kryptonite. 100% he very much could be. 478 Dorian, it's Brooks, by the way. Brooks Austin, cool. Don't worry about it. Been called Austin my whole life. My Twitter handle is at Brooks Austin SI, which is right there. Sorry, we've been rattling off questions, so you can't see it. It's right there at Brooks Austin SI. Let's get to the next one. What next young wide receiver you see stepping up next year? PS, what happened to Micaiah Tongue? I was big on him. I like Micaiah as a safety better out of high school. That dude thumped. He absolutely thumped. But I don't know what happened. Sometimes you're just big. That's what Georgia was doing under Coley and Pruitt. They was just recruiting all these 6'5", 6'4", massive bodies type dudes that can't really run around. Matt Landers, right? That's what they were. Trey Blunt. That's what they were recruiting. These big, massive dudes. Tommy Bush. That's what they were recruiting. Now they're not. Now they're going out and getting guys like Jermaine Burton, guys like Ladd McConkey. Justin Robinson's cut from that cloth, but guess who he trains with? Terrence Edwards. That dude can run routes. I'm telling you right now. Marcus Rosemi, Jack Saint. Excellent route runner. Okay, so that's kind of the mold now. And he's only about 6'2", 6'3". So this whole go get 6'5" Jesse Palmer's like they got up in Tennessee. Look, it's very, very clear. Look what Pruitt's recruiting now at wide receiver. Go look at Tennessee's roster in 2021, that recruiting class. Go see if you can find a tight end or a wide receiver that's under 6'3". Try me. Do it. Okay? These OCs, that's why I also get ticked off when y'all do the why are we watching last year's tape crap. Why are we watching last year's tape? Because it's important. OCs don't change. Coaches don't really change for the most part. That's why I commend Kirby so much for doing what he's doing offensively. He's actually opening it up. That's why. Okay? But yeah, I think the Micaiah Tongues, the Tommy Bushes, the Matt Landers, all those guys, the Trey Blunts, right? The big, long wide receivers that can't really do this, they gone. They ain't coming back. Do we change defensive scheme with Kentucky being so run? No, they do what they do. They 4-2-5. That's what they do. Why isn't Marcus involved more? He's a freshman. End of story. And they got guys. You can only play so many wide receivers. You can only play so many. Everybody wants Evan Ingram, Kyle Pitts, tight end now. Is that what? How about? Yes, 100%. I would say Bowers is more. My guy Keith, who's watched him since he was 12 years old, says he's the next Greg Kittle. George Kittle. I always call George Greg. I don't know why. Says he's the next George Kittle. I don't see Brock ever developing into that type of blocker on the next level. But in terms of yards after the catch, that's what he is. Yes, they are calling him for to get fired. I don't get it. It's like, come on, man. Come on. What do you think about Christopher Rodriguez running back on Kentucky? I think you could take 25 running backs in the SEC and put them up at Kentucky, they're going to put up numbers. That offensive line is really good. Really, really good. I'm not downgrading Rodriguez. I just don't know him enough. You know what I'm saying? Let me see here. Why did Justin commit to UGA? Did he think he could beat out Fromm, or was something else going on that we don't know about? Here's what I'll say. I could only imagine the number one quarterback in the country. I think he was the highest rated player on almost all platforms. I would imagine that guy wasn't necessarily promised playing time. Kirby don't do that. He was guaranteed. I guarantee he was promised an opportunity to win the job. And when he didn't win the job, he transferred. Done. So why didn't he win the job? I don't know. I wasn't at practice and spring practice. That's the thing. All this speculation, I can talk to as many trainers as I want, which I do. I know the guy that's been training with Justin since he was 12 years old. I don't dig information like that out of those guys, nor even if I did, nor would I ever tell you. Sorry. That's how you burn relationships. I'm a big relationships guy in this industry, and I'm never, ever telling you that kind of stuff. So sorry. Not even if you are an OG over on the Patreon account. So don't get that one out of me. Was he promised playing time? No. Was he promised an opportunity to win the job? Most likely 100% guaranteed. Did he win the job? No. So he left. Why didn't he win the job? How didn't he win the job? Was it this? Was it that? Don't know. Don't care. That's the baseline. End of story. The difference between Dabo Bench and Kelly Bryant for Trevor Lawrence or Natty Birth versus CKS. Pretty sure Kelly got hurt that year. And then Trevor came in. So CKS has already done that. And correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe Kelly didn't get hurt. Pretty sure Kelly Bryant got hurt. And then Trevor played. Which is the same thing that Kirby Smart did when Jacob Eason got hurt. Played the freshman. See? And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And if he threw him in there, great. The real question is, what's the difference between Tua Tagovailoa getting inserted in at halftime over Jalen Hurts? That's the question. Not this one, if I'm correct, which I think I am. I think Kelly got hurt that year. Thoughts on Gatewood? We already hit this one. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. We're out of here. We're not out of here. Kelly didn't get hurt. So, great look. Coach, some coaches make great moves. Just like Nick Saban. Some coaches make great moves. So, yeah, if you want to crack on them, then go ahead. But, again, I think the difference is Trevor's pretty damn good. Justin was too. I don't know. I don't like to be armchair coach, man. What I do, because I don't know what's going on, right? Trevor may have been 100% locked in, ready to go. Justin may not have been. Maybe Justin was 100% locked in, ready to go. I'm not privy to practice. So what I'm not going to do, and I don't think it's fair to do, but fans want to do it anyways, is sit there and second guess the dude's decisions that has all of the information. All I've got is bits and pieces of the information. So is it fair for me to take bits and pieces and bring you an opinion? No, I don't think that's fair. So anybody that's doing the Kirby made a bad decision picking Fromm over Fields. Great for you, man. Great for you. Awesome. You can sit there and say, oh, yeah, Fromm, bad decision, Kirby, giving up the number 5 overall pick in the NFL draft to stick with the 5th rounder that might end up getting cut one day by the Buffalo Bills. I mean, come on, what are we doing? It's so hard to sit in here and do that kind of stuff. I don't like doing that. I'll never do it. Okay. What I will do is, if I've seen both of them play on the same offense, and then you ask me who was better, I'll give you an opinion on that because I got tape and film to back it up. I don't have tape and film of practice to tell you why he chose Jake Fromm. And Georgia fans, that one's going to eat y'all for the rest of your life. The rest of your life, that's going to be the story of Georgia football. Why did we let Justin Fields go? And guess what? The moment Kirby Smart wins the national championship, y'all ain't going to give a flying fart. Y'all not. Y'all going to let that Justin Fields stuff die. And I'm going to tell you right now, this stuff going on with Bennett, not even close. Not even close to the same situation. Not even close. First of all, both those guys were healthy, Fromm and Fields. They were both healthy in 2018. I don't think that's the case right now, first of all. Second, yeah, they were both great football players. They were playing lights out probably in practice. I bet practice was phenomenal to watch. Is that the case now? I don't know. I'm not at practice. So, any more questions? Any more super subs coming in? I'll wait around on those. Let me skim and make sure we don't have any that I didn't miss. If we got any super sub questions, we will hit those. I'll give y'all 2 or 3 minutes to file those in while I direct you to the Patreon account where y'all can ask me all these questions. I'll be a lot more forthcoming in those things because it ain't on camera and it ain't recording. Now, some of them yahoos take that stuff and take it to Facebook and try to act like an insider with my inside information. I've had to confront those people, which I get. Hey, man, if I'm going to put it out there, I have to expect it to come out. That's rule number one in media. But I'm not going to be on camera giving you all that stuff. So if you want some of these questions answered in the full stuff, come over to the Patreon account. Cost you $10 a month to get the full intel on everything we know. Again, the stuff about Daniels that I got, appreciate you, Colby Smith. The stuff about Daniels that I know and have been told, it's on Patreon right now. $10 a month, everything you need to know. What's up, Harrison? Everything you need to know, all over there. So, and if you can't afford it, sorry. I wish if you're just not, some of these people think everything on the internet should be free. If you're one of those people, more power to you. I give you free stuff. I give you Wednesday and Thursday. Right now, we're an hour and 15 minutes into my time. I give you a bunch of free stuff. Everything I write on si.com is free. I give you a whole bunch of free content. Some of the other stuff, hey, man, it don't make dollars. It don't make sense. At least I'm honest about it, right? I'm 100% forthcoming with it every time. Real. Not going against you, Brooks, but anyone with half a brain can figure out why JT isn't playing. A lot of people only got half a brain then, brother, because go look on your Twitter feed. That's a hot take. Kirby's handling of the field situation, probably why Chaney left. Maybe Chaney left because he got a massive bonus and an upgrade, and he's buddies with Jeremy Pruitt. Maybe that's why he left. Go look at the salary increase. I'm pretty sure he got a $500,000 raise to go to Tennessee. Money, baby. Money talks. Obviously, I've been spending 5 minutes trying to get y'all to go over to the Patreon account. Do we change defensive scheme with Kentucky being run heavy? Rob, I think I hit this one earlier. No, Georgia does what they do. They're going to line up in 4-2-5. They're going to line up 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 DBs, and they're going to say, come on, you want to run the ball? Let's go. Now, if you come out on 2 tight ends and try to run heavy run formations, then like Tennessee did, then yeah, he'll play a traditional odd front. He'll bring in 2 outside linebackers. He opened the game against Tennessee. It's all personnel, guys. That's why I'm trying to teach y'all over there on the Patreon account. That defense is a personnel-based defense. Whatever the offense gives them, they counteract. That's why they got 12 guys up in the box that are analysts, right? Off-field analysts that sit up in the box, and all they do is sit there with binoculars and go, they're in 12 personnel. And then they counteract. Well, what they're doing, they get on the radio and say they're in 12 personnel. And then they call the formations and the personnel groupings, and then everybody runs on and off the field. That's what happens. So if last year, Kentucky ran 13 personnel at one point. If that happens, yeah, you're going to see a change from the defense. But they're not going to do anything crazy. They're just going to do what they do. All right, last question of the night. I got to go. My butt is hurting from sitting on this chair. Oh, man, y'all keep feeding them. What is Patreon? Patreon is a way simply put, it's a way for me to put content behind a paywall. That's what it is. It provides some exclusivity for my biggest, let's call them fans. That's what they are. Okay. You get an offensive breakdown on Monday. How Georgia played. We go through it. The stuff I was doing a couple weeks back for free. You can watch example episodes right now on YouTube. Go look back. There's an Auburn one with like 10,000 views. There's an Arkansas one with over 10,000 views. There's a whole bunch of examples of what I do over on Patreon. Now it's just behind Patreon. So there's that. Monday, we do the offensive breakdown, how they played. Tuesday, we do the defensive breakdown. Wednesday, I come here on the full live stream and do, not on Patreon, just on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. I do a full breakdown of what to expect. Last night we did Kentucky, obviously. And then Thursday we do Q&A here. Friday morning, before I go to bed tonight, I will do a film session for the OGs over there on Patreon. it'll be a recruit film session. So if you want my opinion on how a recruit plays, and spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm one of the only people in this industry that is a strictly film-based evaluation. I don't care if you showed up to some daggum camp and locked up some yahoo and, you know, in 7-on-7 or 1-on-1s. Don't care. When you put the pads on, what do you look like? That's what I care about. It a www.thing. I need that. It's in the link on YouTube right there underneath in the information. It's patreon.com/Brooks Austin. I'm gonna send it into the chat right now. There. That's the link. Okay. That's where you can find all that stuff. $5 to get the 2 video breakdowns Monday and Tuesday. $10 a month to get all the inside intel, which there's a good bit of it. It's not what you're really there for. What you're really there for is the Friday film sessions and the watch party that we do on Saturday. All the stuff we do film breakdown wise comes out live during the game. And those guys that hang out in that watch party, they'll let you know that. It's a pretty good product. They enjoy it. The average time spent listening is 100%. I mean, we have, if we have 30 people watching it, those 30 people don't leave. They love what they're getting over there on Saturday watch party. So yeah, SSL, hit me up on the Discord. All right. Going once, going twice. Sold. I'm out of here. Got to do a Friday film session. But first, I got to get my fat butt on the treadmill. So appreciate you guys. For real though, all like big time love for everybody that supports this stuff, man. It's only going to get bigger. I promise you, we're going to roll out more and more content on this as long as you guys keep eating it up like